4 serviced accommodation deals in less than a month. That's what we're going to talk about today. Hello, my name's Mark Fitzgerald. It's fantastic to have you joining me here. You are about to see an interview with 2 of our students. 2 people that have taken the bull by the horns. They started the Ultimate Serviced Accommodation Business Builder Training Program in the back end of November. Now we're in January and they have 4 deals, 3 rent-to-rent deals and 1 management deal, all in serviced accommodation. All are cash flowing, making them thousands and thousands of pounds each month. And all they had to do was follow these simple steps. I hope you enjoy this interview. They're going to share with you some of the pitfalls that they've had to go through, some of the ways that the trainings helped them, and equally how they got out there and they've done it for themselves. You'll notice in the interview itself that we talk about 3 deals with potentially a 4th deal coming on. Well, half an hour after we finished and wrapped up the recording, they got in contact with me and they were delighted to tell me, and I'm delighted as well. I always love to see our students, our clients winning. They told me they have the deal in the bag. They have 4 deals in about the space of a month. Can you imagine if you could get out there yourself, follow a simple plan that is easy to follow with all the tools and resources that you want? Equally to that, jumping on the group coaching calls, asking all the questions and having people who live and breathe serviced accommodation and are experts in that field with over 7 years worth of experience in serviced accommodation answering your questions. I tell you, it's one of those things that makes it so that you cannot go wrong as long as you take the action. And Zac and Eve have. You are really going to enjoy this interview and you are going to take lots and lots of information, of nuggets, of gems away from it as well. So that all leaves me to say, sit back, relax, and enjoy listening and watching this interview with Zac and Eve now. Hello and welcome to the Property Unleashed podcast with me, Mark Fitzgerald. It's fantastic to have you joining me here. Today I have 2 special guests that I am absolutely thrilled and delighted to have joining me here. Zac and Eve have now started a successful serviced accommodation business and they're here to share their story with us, their highs, their lows, and everything that goes with it. But a little bit about them first. They are both currently working for the same company whilst growing their property business. Zac is known for a long time that he wanted to start his own property business, but was intimidated about how to get started as a 23-year-old without a lot of money to invest. But once he discovered serviced accommodation as a strategy, he did some research and he actually came across the Property Unleashed. They started the Ultimate Serviced Accommodation Business Builder Training Program in November and now have 3 live properties. And if you're listening to this, live, or you're listening to this on a replay, we are now in January. So that is super, super fast. They are now also looking at taking on another 2 properties in a management style, so SA management deals as well. And they have these, of course, in the pipeline. They feel they are definitely running before they can walk, but in the best possible way. They don't want to say no to any opportunities, so they say yes. And then when they see a great opportunity, and then they worry about the details by going back through the training course, getting on the supportive coaching calls and making sure that they are doing everything properly. They have big goals for this year and want to have at least 25 listed properties by the end of the year. That is a hell of an intro. Welcome to the show, Zac and Eve. It's great to have you on.
Morning. Thank you.
So for the listeners, I've obviously listened to me enough now. Can you guys just give us a little bit of a run-up, a bit of background about yourselves, please?
Sure.
Yeah, first.
So we're in Cardiff to start with. That's kind of where we're based. That's where we're starting to kind of grow our business. And like you mentioned in the intro, we're in our early 20s. We're working full time. Like we love our jobs. They're great, but we knew we wanted to kind of have something of our own as well. And property's always been the goal, but it's quite an intimidating space to get into when you don't necessarily know all the different options. And we're just looking into all of those and thinking, what can we do that doesn't require massive amounts of initial investment, and then we kind of came across the serviced accommodation space and that as a kind of business model. So yeah, like you explained, that's what we're into now. That's it so far, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we work pretty a lot. So yeah, it's been a challenge. It's been exciting. It's been I think there's a lot of misconception online where you feel like getting the deal is the hard part, but once you get the deal, that's actually when the work really starts, and that's when you don't know anything. It's like you look at all this content online, and that's what I found. And I know Eve was the same. We were actually pretty naive when we first started. We're like, well, we don't really need anything. We can just crack on. We can get the deals. We're experienced. We heads of this company, et cetera, et cetera. And we're like, oh my God, thank God we actually had something, because honestly, we knew nothing.
I mean, you don't know what you don't know, right? So,
but it's been really exciting, and I mean, as you can tell, I have an accent. I'm Australian. I moved over here 3.5 years ago. I met Eve when I was traveling, and then I moved over here after about a year. Ish. Yeah. So
bit of a crazy story there as well, but we won't go into that one.
Yeah,
but
it's like
now we live together in Cardiff essentially, so that's where we're at. So now we're just excited to get into this next phase, really.
Yeah,
I think it's brilliant. I mean, at the end of the day, you've taken that leap of faith, you've taken action, and I think that's the biggest things, particularly in sort of the property world. There's so many people that are out there that want to get into something. So they want to do, rent to rent, whether it's HMOs or serviced accommodation. They're thinking, those are ways that I can start to build a business. Those are ways that I can get into property that's more cost effective, because as we all know, property is expensive. Now, you looked at the serviced accommodation. What sort of drew you towards the SA side of it all?
So I think, I mean, the big thing being the kind of smaller amount of money that you need to put into it. I mean, you can go in with even less than we did. We kind of hit the ground running and took on basically 3 at once. So that was a little bit of money, but you could just take on 1, and that wasn't too intimidating because of the small amount of money that's needed for it. I think also the actual hosting side of it for us, especially me, I love kind of the interior side and thinking of all the small details. So for me, it's kind of that creative side of it, which I really love as well. It's a different kind of thing than just having a house and renting it out. So
it's more like a business.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the cool thing about it, where I think HMOs would be, it's more like, I mean, it's still
like
a business,
being a landlord.
It's like being a landlord, and it's kind of, you kind of offset it. But this is like everything from organizing team to decor to, revenue management, and the list goes on and on and on. It never stops. And that's kind of what we've always wanted. We want a challenge. We don't want something that's easy. We want something that's going to obviously be higher risk, but obviously better rewards at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing. I mean, at the moment, serviced accommodation is a fantastic strategy because the rewards, as you say, are higher with interest rates going up and things. People who have got a single let that doesn't stack right here and now, to turn it into serviced accommodation, or to get somebody to come in and manage it in serviced accommodation, is the way to survive, so to speak, the times now and blossom as well. So if we go back, obviously you're both very successful in your careers. But then you've obviously thought to yourselves, we want to do something for ourselves alongside that as well. I always say a bit of a legacy piece at the end of the day. And the earlier you can start a legacy piece and have something that you can systemize, that can run for you in the background. Obviously, there is a level of work that you have to put in. Of course, it's very busy in the beginning, but once you can systemize the business, you can actually, you can step back. So, if you're enjoying your corporate jobs, there's no real reason why you have to leave those, because nothing there will suffer, will it? Of course, you've got this going on as well. But going back to sort of, obviously serviced accommodation market, training, expertise and everything out there. There's a lot of people that can help you. There's a lot of people that can show you how to do things and stuff like that. But what sort of brought you, into our community?
Yeah, I mean, funnily enough, I just followed you, or I followed each other. I can't remember. I think you followed me, and then I followed you back. I saw that you did service accommodation, HMO. I just messaged you just to jump on a call and you're like, yeah, we have this course that's coming out that's about to be released. Let's have a chat. And then that's just how it blossomed. We had an hour, I think we had like a 30 to 40 minute convo or something like that. And we just really liked everything you were saying, from how it would work, the coaching calls. It kind of just me and Eve, and it was affordable. I mean, it's worth this money. Like we'll get onto that in a second, but it was just everything that we needed because at the time, there's a lot of things out there that's very expensive, like one-on-one coaching. There's other courses, and we actually paid. I won't say what we paid for, but we paid for this manual that would have a lot of this other stuff in there, and it was pretty expensive. It was like 1/3 of the cost of this, and it had like nothing.
compared to
we
this.
refunded it.
Yeah.
Like it was just like it was crazy. And then when we looked at this and the in depth that Graham goes into,
it's the detail, isn't it?
From the first video, we're like, wow, this guy's like
on it,
like just on it.
Yeah, and I think as well, it's something that you've got all of that information that, as I said, it's so detailed, but at the same time, you can take it at your own pace. So for us, we got the course, and within one weekend, we were like nestled in. That's kind of the pace we want to go at. Whereas, if you wanted to go at a slightly slower pace, or you're just kind of not in such a rush necessarily, you've got that ability. So for us, it was the ability to be able to go as fast as we wanted and have the support, along the way, and come to the coaching calls, especially. I mean, the last coaching call, we came with like a list of questions. We were like, kept everyone late, but hopefully it was helpful anyway. But like being able to then, go away independently, use the course and action things, and then come to that as almost like your kind of review every 2 weeks to then kind of progress again. So it's really a combination of those two things to kind of just crack on, essentially, which we knew we wanted to do. We didn't want anything too slow.
Yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine. And I mean, of course, I like to have the odd sales call with people who are sat on the fence, because it is a chunk of change. At the end of the day, I think at the moment, we're reviewing the price of it because it was new. So we wanted to make it affordable for people who wanted to get started. But it's also sort of getting results. Do you know what I mean? And of course, we had the call and everything, and we spoke quite in depth about what you needed. And I'm a massive believer that if you're asking for something that we can't deliver, then I'm going to say that it'll do all of the things that you need, but it hasn't quite got that. Do you know what I mean? But it's also bringing people through to opening up their minds to not just, it's not just rent to SA. Everybody thinks I just want to do rent to SA. Rent to SA is rent to SA, but there's other ways that you can scale a serviced accommodation business. And that's the reason that Graham and myself sort of teamed up together, because obviously I already had the HMO Business Builder course going. He was interested in helping people in serviced accommodation with his knowledge. And the knowledge he's got is unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, he blows me away, which is why, he is the lead trainer on that coaching, on the coaching calls and everything as well. I'm just there to learn the same as you guys, and I always pick up pieces and help you, if it's sales negotiations or you need a little hand with anything else there, that's sort of my role. But I mean, Graham himself, having 7 years in the serviced accommodation, building up the business that he's built up. I mean, for what I told you on the, so to speak, on the, I was going to say sales call. It wasn't really a sales call. It's just sort of a chat to see if it's right for you call. Has it delivered on what I so to speak promised?
Definitely.
Hands down, yeah.
Yeah. Even at that point, we didn't know what we didn't know. We just knew we needed someone to kind of guide us through everything. And I think the key thing about it for us, like Zac mentioned, is it's a business. It's not just kind of get a property and off you go. Like, that's where the work starts. So I know that's what you explained, that it's really about building a business that's sustainable and professional, that's actually going to run properly, not just kind of take on a property and then you're on your own kind of thing. So that was massive, and it's definitely followed through. And you guys have added another module as well, since we even bought it, which is amazing, because that's now talking more about that scalability and building up as a business. So it covers everything in depth, not just getting the deal, which was the biggest thing we loved when you explained it to us. And yeah, I mean, we're getting to that point in the course now of scaling that kind of that 9th module. So
yeah, I think as well, like for us, like our business model's already changed since going the course. Like we've realized that, rent to rent, fantastic model. Scalability wise, there's so many limitations to it at the same breath. Like, yes, and obviously you can grow that, but like the management side of it excites us so much more because it's scalable, less risk, and it's probably, I mean, in my opinion, it's an easier option for that landlord to make more money as well. So it's a win-win all around, especially if you know what you're doing. But yeah, I think 100% is delivered on. I didn't even know half the stuff. Like, it's going into like VAT, like things that I wouldn't even thought about. And we made a mistake and we skipped one part on laundry, and it's been an absolute calamity. Like, for the last 2 weeks, we missed it, and we've been running around going to laundrettes, cleaning stuff. And the module, Graham says, find someone that can do the laundry for you, and that would have saved us like hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, and a lot of money as well. So I guarantee, like, none of the stuff that we would have had, we would have found. And I can credit that because we have friends that have actually come on board to the course that have used other things, and they didn't know any of this stuff. They didn't know about cleaning, they didn't know about management, they didn't know about joint ventures, or all the things that Graham's so big about, that he's growing his business, which baffled me.
And that's it, isn't it? It's not just the how to get one and how to furnish it. It is that next level. When you're sat watching a half an hour video on VAT, it's like a little bit scary, but you're like, wow, there's so much value in that, and you feel so much more confident than going out and having that conversation, whether it's with your accountant or whatever, because you just got so much knowledge from it. So just got to concentrate a bit on the VAT videos, maybe.
Well, you've got to watch those a few times, but it's not about what you make, it's about what you can keep. And I think that's what people forget. They think I can get 2 or 3 or 4 units, woohoo, all of a sudden they get slapped by this massive VAT bill because they weren't shown it. And this is the thing, when we looked at the marketplace and we looked at different training and coaches out there, you've got people that have got 1, 2, 3, maybe serviced accommodations, and then are training it. Graham's got 7 years in the business. He's got the biggest serviced accommodation business in Nottingham. And that is why, if you're going to get taught by somebody who's actually been there, done it, wears the t-shirt. And I think that's the difference. And that's the level of detail that go into the actual course itself. So to hear that the course has been everything that you wanted it to be and more, and the fact that we are going to be changing, changing modules, we are going to be adding to the modules all the time, because we both, again, we're aligned with this, myself and Graham, is that your training is a living and breathing thing. And at the end of the day, things will change. In the marketplace will change, and certain elements might change. Or Graham might try something and he thinks, do you know what, that works really well, I'll do a module on that. So you'll always have access to it, and you can, of course, see the new modules, see the things that are happening. And if, of course, if God forbid anything sort of COVID-y wise came ahead again, you're in the right place, because Graham's going to share what he's doing in his business, and he survived COVID. He's been going 7 years. He survived COVID because he diversified the way he did his business. Of course, we're all in the circle to be, shown by people that can lead the way. And at the end of the day, you don't have to reinvent it, do you? Of course, you don't know what you don't know. So let's roll back then. You've got your 3, you've got rent-to-rent units at the moment. So how did they come about?
So, it's just the numbers game, really, isn't it? Going to viewings. So our key thing was just obviously meeting with landlords and networking. It's just finding the right one, finding the one that it works for you. It's not going to work for every landlord. If someone is really protective over their property, or they like to manage it themselves, then it's not going to really be for them. But once we found that first deal, things really started to move a lot quicker. You've got that kind of behind you then.
Yeah. It went really quick. It was about 9 viewings, 9 or 10.
Yeah, and everyone said you need at least 10 viewings before one. So we were just on that number, really. And
we're so close so many times. And I think that the issue, we weren't set up properly. Like, everyone always says, like, I'm in sales as well, so your first sale is always the hardest. It always is, because it's just, you don't know what you don't know, and then you aren't set up properly. And so we had a few landlords that, like I said, they were like, yeah, you're new, so we like you, but we're going to go with this person. And then that kind of bummed us down. And our first landlord, actually, he was a really nice guy. It's actually in Barry, so it wasn't the actual city that we were looking to go. It's actually one of the best performing properties that we have of the 3 as well, which is crazy. And we just went there. He's got a portfolio of 45 properties, and he super chatty. He said, we thought we lost him, and then we kind of put an email together, and he kind of just all of a sudden randomly said, hey, I'm thinking about taking these guys on a commercial deal to his insurance agency. And then it was like a week and a half going back and forth negotiating on the contract with the term and all that kind of stuff. And we finally got there, and it was amazing. The downside was he wanted a year's rent up front, which is about 10.5 grand. Which luckily, this is why you need money to do kind of this business. We had that, and we had some money behind us, so we were able to get that and took a leap of faith, which was terrifying. And then
plus it needed renovating.
Oh, yeah.
So then we spent 2 weeks renovating, and it's early days. So moving forward, if we had to renovate somewhere, I'm sure we wouldn't be doing it all ourselves. But for that one, we were. So we were, we were working. We took annual leave, and we were just there from like 9 a.m. till 3 a.m.
Yeah, every day.
For like 2 weeks straight, getting it done. It was way more work than we thought it was going to be. But now that that's up and running, like Zac said, it is super successful. And I remember we were so nervous waiting for that deal. And luckily, we actually had a coaching call the same week, which was amazing. And we got on the call, and everyone was asking for an update. And we basically were like, guys, we're so nervous. Like, we're hanging on these emails, like, Graham, what do we do? And he told us kind of the next steps, wait this long, say this, say that. To close the deal, and then we followed that, and it did help, because I think otherwise we may have, our kind of neediness with it being our first deal may have taken over. So he just kind of brought us back down to earth with that call, and that was great.
He said something really good. I remember he said, something that's important to you is not that important to someone else. So like just wait and see, and then give him a little nudge. And that's what we did. I said, hey, by the way, let me know if you want me to edit the agreement. And then I can go ahead and sign it. And he said, I'll go do that today. And he hadn't replied for like a week. So it's just that little subtle, like, hey, just by the way, and that went through. But the other 2 properties we got, this is a funny story. It was the first viewing we ever went to, ever. And it was back in October, before we even had that business set up or anything. And we, turns out it was a leasehold. It was like, we couldn't even do it there. And the guy, luckily, he was like, oh, is this your business? Because he did Airbnb that property, and he went, can't do it here. Maybe I'll have a property in like a month and a bit. It's getting renovated. And then I just kind of tried to call him and text him to update on that property. And then all of a sudden he sent a property my way, which was in between Cardiff Bay and the Cardiff City Centre, like a 5-minute walk to Central. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. And we went there, and he gave it to us. And then he said, do you want another property? And then he gave us another property. And then that's how we had 3 properties within the space of 3 weeks.
I think that's it. The following up always comes in. It's not a no until they actually tell you no. So nicely, friendly, keep following up. And that's what paid off with that guy. And
he ignored me 5 texts as well, because it wasn't a priority. So
that's it.
It worked well.
I said, well, no doesn't mean no. It just means not now. So, and the follow-up, the old saying, the money's in the follow-up. And that is so, so true, because people have, people have properties, people have jobs, people have lives, and everything's going on. But sometimes, and this is what I say to people myself as well, and Graham's hit the nail on the head, is you've just got to give them that nudge. Sometimes we think, I don't want to keep disturbing them. But some people need that, because, there's probably more times I've re-rang landlords or agents and they said, oh, I was just about to ring you. It's like, no, you weren't. You've forgotten all about me, but I've rang you, and now you've remembered me, and you're like, oh yeah, I was going to speak to you, but you're not high on my priority list. So the fact that you've taken those actions and done that is absolutely brilliant, and I commend that. And 3 properties, I mean, that must have been scary then.
Oh yeah,
it was. And it was just taking them all in one go was a little bit crazy, but I think we've got big goals, and like I said before, we can't really say no to the opportunity when it's there. So we just went, whatever happens, let's just make it happen. So it was crazy. But
yeah, and the quietest period of the year as well. Starting that in December, January. That's the case. You're like, God, am I going to make my profit? Am I going to break even the first couple of months? And in service accommodation, you understand that maybe January, maybe December, you're not going to make massive profit. Maybe you lose a bit. But then we just kept saying, like, we know this is going to work. We know Cardiff's amazing. Let's just run with it. Worst case, we lose a bit of money. But
and even just like getting your guys' tick of approval and things, posting in the group, just for that, literally just like, looks great, guys. There's even just that alone, plus all the other kind of info on how to get them up and running, that really helps, because it just gives you that little confidence boost. Like, yeah, the experts say this is good, this is a good decision. Yeah. So it just kind of puts that confidence behind you to keep going and not waver and get scared, because it is a bit scary when you're on your own, hoping it's gonna work.
100%. I think as well, like the deals weren't like ideal as well. Like the agreements we came with some of the properties, they are high increase on monthly costs, normal. Like some of them are like 10% increase, but that's because you had other people offering. And it was like, okay, we just negotiated in, okay, worst case, let's say this doesn't work for us. Let's negotiate a yearly break for us. Because it was an agreement pack, so we couldn't like have a clause for us to exit. So we just do that. So then if it's not commercially viable after each year, we can just stop it. But we know it's going to be commercially viable for the next couple of years. Like that's just a guarantee. So it's like worst case, we stop it. But by that point, we may have 50, 60, 70 properties. So losing one, it doesn't matter. It's just getting this on our portfolio is going to pay for X, Y, Z properties.
I think one of the main things is when we're all starting out, we want to get those deals. It's getting the first deals over the line, but it's also we've got to make sure that they're good deals.
Exactly.
They're never going to be the best, or maybe maybe I'm wrong, maybe, but they're never really ever going to be the best because we get better at negotiating, we get better at doing the deals. But we've got to make sure that those deals are good deals. They just need to be good deals. They need to make money, not cost us money. And this is one of the things that I've seen far too much. And I've had people obviously joining the training and things to try and help themselves because they're bleeding cash because it's not working for them. They've had the great idea of getting into this, and all of a sudden they're not making any money. They were promised, a dream, and it's just not worked for them because they haven't got that level of support. But I think if you can set, they always say when you buy a property, you make your money when you buy it on the value that you pay for it at the end of the day. So by getting decent deals, getting good deals that for a fact are going to make you money, and it sounds like you've got some very, very good deals actually. It just took a few tweaks to get there. So when did they actually go live?
Before Christmas.
Yeah, one was the 12th of December, the 18th, and then I think on Christmas Day we got the other ones live. We did Christmas Eve, and then we just published it on Christmas Day, and we had like bookings as well on Christmas Day, which is crazy. We had people stay over Christmas, and which we, for us, just started. We're like, oh my god, that's amazing. We're excited.
That's exciting.
Yeah. But the good thing for us is that we've actually had a really good response as well from them. Like we've had on the Barry one, 3 10 out of 10 or 5 out of 5 on Airbnb, and 2 10 out of 10 on booking.com. And then the other one it's a 9 out of 10, and then 1 10 out of 10 on Airbnb. Too many numbers, but so it's good. So now we're like a genius person on booking.com, which is helping quite a lot with a lot of things. But we've emphasized like getting reviews because we know that that's what people want. Like we message, and I just know from sales, always just ask, and if they don't do it, whatever. So I just go, by the way, if you have 10 seconds, can you please just leave a review? It really helps us. Obviously, if you don't want to leave a review, that's fine, but it really helps us. And they always do because they feel like they owe you, especially if they enjoy it, which is great.
Yeah, it's like that follow-up again, isn't it, so to speak? You're following up with your clients. It's all follow-up. Property and business is all about follow-up. You'll know in sales, at the end of the day, you're not going to make any sales unless you're letting people know that you exist. You're letting people know that you're there and things like that. So, I mean, let's talk about, obviously, you got a few bookings, which is fantastic and everything. And of course, I mean, last week we had a coaching call where you were having a few issues and things. But obviously, Mighty Graham, he got stuck in, helped you out. I mean, it was quite a long session. Let's get this straight. We have coaching calls, which we say are 60 minutes long, okay? Because we have to put a time frame on things. But at the end of the day, myself and Graham are both there for as long as it takes to make sure that everybody on that call has the answers that they need, has the plan that they need, and knows what they need to be doing. And I think you can also say that some of the replies in the Facebook group and the community as well, they've been pretty in-depth, haven't they? They've been pretty long replies, really tweaking things and helping things out, which is great because we love it. By you guys doing well, it's like us winning as well. So it's great. So can you tell us you had an issue, didn't you, going into the coaching call the other day, and sort of what happened?
So
issues.
So obviously we went live, like Zac said, in December, and we were getting bookings through. And I suppose New Year is a fairly kind of busy week, so that was great. And we were having kind of 1 night, 2 night, maybe 3 night bookings, sort of maximum. But what we weren't seeing is we wanted to look ahead at the next month, 2 months, and get those longer bookings in, because that's obviously what we're always aiming for, is the week or the 2 week bookings at least. So we weren't really seeing those coming in yet. So we've been playing around with pricing and doing all that stuff, but it still wasn't really taking off. So, I mean, you talked through the kind of like the different settings that we had on all of our different pricing things on booking.com and things. And Graham sort of gave us the confidence to change that up and told us how to change those things. Actually told us what he's doing on his properties in January as well. And that reassured us that, we were literally following what he was doing. So that was good. So then we came off that meeting, implemented the changes to our kind of pricing and offers that we had on, and then literally woke up the next morning and had bookings all day long. I was calling Zac at work going, is this
5 bookings.
Is this real? Well, they're all just flooding in, and they were all longer bookings. And that's the key thing. So we've had 2-week-long bookings and week-long bookings.
We actually had a 16-week booking, but it cancelled, but it was like £1,800.
16.
No, 1,600.
Oh, you said 16.
Oh, exactly. So 1,600 pound booking for, it was over a event in Cardiff, the rugby. It's like £500 a night. But yeah, Graham literally just said, it's grim right now. We're putting a night stays for the first week of Jan and all of January 2 days. And normally his thing is, having calendar free for longer bookings. And then I think when you start, you're like, oh, I don't want to be too cheap. I want to make money. But then you realize that you're probably too expensive and you don't make any money. So we've put like the Genius 10%, the mobile discount. We reduced our minimum stay on Price Labs. And it's definitely way below what we were wanting. Some of the bookings were like for £70-80 a night near the city centre. And it was massive discounts, but
were booked in January.
Graham obviously warned us to look at that and tweak it if it's too low. But I mean, we've had, I think, like $3,000 worth of bookings come in from nothing to $3,000 in a day. Which is crazy, and they're still coming in. We had a 5-night booking come in yesterday, and then we had someone from France come for 7 days for February. And
so it's coming in thick and fast now, which is good. And the thing Graham said as well, which made us just think, like Zac said, in terms of pricing, made us think differently at this time of year. He said, you're better off losing a little bit of money instead of all of your money because you've been too scared to lose money, if that makes sense. So we've kind of just committed, and that's really helped us just kind of, just get the bookings in. That's what's most important at this time of year. And then obviously as the year goes on into spring, summertime, that won't be our mindset. We'll be looking at how we make as much profit as possible.
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly.
But I think as well, that one coaching call that you came onto, asked those questions, and that's paid for itself tenfold now, isn't it, the course?
Yeah, we were so excited for that call. I was like counting down the days because we just had I had a full Word doc of questions, right? Like literally, I was like, Zac, we're going to add to this for the next week. Like we need to not miss anything on this meeting. And then we got there and we literally got our doc up and we were like reeling off the questions, which, I mean, that's so much progress from that. Like those are the kind of things where if you're on your own, it would be next January by the time we learned to just do what we did in that one day, like it's so much slower when you're learning it on your own. You'll learn it eventually, but it's going to take you, Graham's been in it for 7 years, right? So he's learned that in 7 years and we can learn that in one coaching call from his experience. So it just speeds up that process, which gets me really excited because, we have these big goals and we want to crack on. So it allows you to kind of really push forward.
That pays for the course.
Well, and that.
24 hours, that course.
That's it. Well, the other beauty is, I mean, you can download the coaching call, so you've still got access to that and things. We'll probably put that coaching call in the training as well, because obviously the questions and things that are asked there are absolutely brilliant. And of course, like you say, particularly for where you are with Barry and stuff like that, that is Barry Island, isn't it?
Yeah.
My wife used to go to Barry Island when she was young because we used to live in Bath and Bristol and stuff like that. So I'll tell you got a unit there. We might come and stay in it.
I was about to say, need some stays. Give you some discounts.
But yeah, I mean, it's amazing because we've just started the year at the end of the day. So just to say you've got that level of bookings and it's not even sort of that sort of season as well. People are looking already. They're getting things booked in. They're going in early. I mean, that's got to give you some massive, massive confidence going forward now.
Yeah, we're ready to take on more deals now.
I mean, after that coaching call, we were like jumping, high five.
Oh, we were so pumped, honestly. Like we're so excited by the whole thing. And every time we have, you know, it's about surrounding yourself with like-minded people, and that's super important to us, because when you're kind of on your own, even in that space between the 2-week calls, you know, we're working really hard, we're rewatching videos, we're doing all of the things we need to be doing, but nothing is like getting on a call with people in the same boat as you, talking about things. It motivates you so much, and you hear other people's progress, and obviously Graham telling you what to do and rewarding you for, you know, congratulating you for taking big action, and really just gets you refocused again. And there's nothing like being around people that are doing that. It just pushes you forward so much, doesn't it?
Yeah, we were super excited. I think it's just like, you know, obviously like Gary Murray said this earlier, but like reinforcing about like just, you know, just tell everyone what you're doing. And I went to my next door neighbor's house yesterday just to find a parcel. And then she told me to come in and we just challenged. And she's like, oh, you're doing the Airbnb business, aren't you? And I went, yeah. She's like, I've actually got a property 5 minutes down here. And I can't get a tenant out. And I think about putting an Airbnb, but I don't want to do anything with it. I was like, oh, perfect. Well, let's have a beer. We're going to go have a drink in 3 hours with them, talk about doing management for them. And it's a 3-bedroom place 5 minutes from our house, which we know will make a killing. You know, that it's just those little things. But I think what I love so much about the course, and I always love surrounding myself, like Eve said, around people that are like-minded. It's like Graham, and even yourself, Mark. Like, I just love he's just like crack on mentality. He's like, do it and then sort it out later. Not like, oh yeah, you need to systemize. He doesn't have a corporate kind of brain. He has like an entrepreneur, let's scale this business mind, and you just need to crack on. That's what we want. We didn't want someone that would just be like, you know, too systemized, even though he's really systemized. He's just like, just get it done, and then this is what you do after. And I love that.
You've hit the nail on it. You can't systemize a business that you haven't got.
Yeah.
You've got to take the action. You've got to put the work in, and you've got to get stuck in before you can systemize anything, because it's easy. In a sense, there is work to be done, but it's easier to systemize something than it is to actually create something. And that's what a lot of people get hung up with. They get hung up with oh, I just need to tweak this. I need to do that. I need to get my ducks in a line or ducks in a row is the old expression. It's just like, you haven't got any ducks to put in a row. You need to go out there, get the ducks, put them in a row, and then you can sort it all out from there. So I mean, that's just it. And I want to congratulate you and commend you as well, because, you know, people do training, people do come on courses and things, and maybe they won't do anything, which is a damn shame at the end of the day, because if you follow the course, if you do the actions, if you take it, and, you know, I bet there was times, I mean, you've got a bit of a sales background and things, but I bet there were certain times you felt uncomfortable doing what you were doing because it was new to you.
Oh yeah.
You don't get used to it. Like, I mean, I'm on calls all the time selling product, and I was talking to someone else that just signed up with us. He does sales, and you're not used to it. It is a very uncomfortable. So I can imagine that if someone that hasn't done sales, you probably.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was feeling guilty every time we went to viewing. I was like, Zac, like, we're wasting their time. Like, we're so annoying. Like, I was so stressed out about it, and you just have to keep doing it. And I think it is nice to have each other to hold each other accountable. But that's what obviously being in the group and things does as well, because you are kind of holding each other accountable you just have to get out of your comfort zone. Like, you know, you're not going to make any big changes if you're just sticking in the same habits.
Actually, it just reminded me, because we had a call with you on that call, discovery call.
You told us so many things.
You told us some things, just what to say to the landlords. And actually, that's what we did. That's how we got the deal. Said, like, we're working with professionals in the area, and there's an overflow, and we need more properties to take care of them. We were going in like, oh, we're going to manage the property, and it was just so bad. Like people were just like, why are you pretending to be an agent? Or and we were doing stuff beforehand, like, we guarantee rent, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It just all sounded like the salesy rather than just like, this is what we're looking for.
Someone literally thought we were an agent posing it.
They reported us. Yeah, they reported us to
our message was a bit. I mean, that was a bit dramatic, but yeah. So that we came off that cool, and obviously we didn't expect to necessarily get like loads of like learning from it, you know, as we thought it was more just a chat about the course and things. And we came off of it, and I went, Zac, don't have another conversation until we've written down everything that we just got told. Like, we need to write that all down, because there's so much value even in that. And that did definitely change the game with the viewings, didn't it? Yeah,
that helps a lot. Even just that one call. But yeah, I mean, to go back to what you said, it's terrifying. You have to do stuff that you're uncomfortable with. And even now, like, even if we were to go to viewing, I'll probably get some butterflies, and I'll still feel a bit uncomfortable because we haven't done one in a month. If you're not consistently doing it, you feel a little bit awkward. but you just got to know that, I've done it before. Nothing happened. I survived. I'm not injured. Everyone else is fine. So if you come out there with a bit of an awkward situation, that person's not going to be hurt. You're not going to be hurt. No bad's been done.
No.
And that's the mentality you need to go in there with.
What's the expression you would say?
Some will, some won't. So what next?
Yeah.
So what next? Yeah, I've read a book by that guy. Can't think of his name.
I can't remember who it's from. Yeah.
American lad, isn't he? American lad. It's quite a good book as well.
Yeah.
He's a good talker, isn't he? Does public speaking. Right. Yeah, it might be. Yeah. No, I like that saying. I've heard that before. That is good. That is good. And I think the thing is, it's our own heads. We overthink, trying to think how they're thinking. And at the end of the day, they're not thinking anything. They're thinking what we're thinking of them. So it's almost like put that wall up and just go out there and I always think that sometimes I can come across a bit brash, a bit in your face, a bit all of this. But I got out of my own way and I think to myself, well, I am a decent person. I'm a nice guy, at the end of the day. And that's what I always try and be. And if I'm a nice person, you're going to meet some not so nice people. But then you don't want to work with those guys and girls, do you? But you've got to get out there and you've got to meet people. But the main thing is getting out of your own head and getting out of your own way. And the fact that you've done that, I think that the nerves will always. I still get nervous now when I sign a deal, and I know what I'm doing. I've done plenty of deals and everything like that. There's still a little voice in my head that says, "Is this the right thing to be doing?" It's the same voice I had when I signed my first deal to whatever deals I'm signing now, and that's just your own head trying to look out for your best interests. At the end of the day, and that's your natural sort of instincts going in there. So what's the sort of the future? The other thing I was going to say is, obviously we've talked a lot about the coaching calls and things like that, but we do have the Facebook community as well. And I think, when you get in there and when you ask questions and when you've got issues and there's great support in there as well, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, a big thing for us has been, it's just those like quick fire questions when you're kind of on the job day to day and you need those quick answers. It's really helpful for that. Something that's kind of a barrier, you can kind of knock that down pretty quickly, which is really great. But also getting feedback has been good, hasn't it? We've shared our listings in there once they've gone live and got your feedback and Graham's feedback on those. We're going to do the same. We're kind of rebuilding our website this week. So we'll share that in there and get feedback from you guys, but also the whole group. Like it's quite a tight knit group. We all know kind of what everyone else is doing, which is really nice. So it's really supportive as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, some of the responses, like I saw a response that Graham did for someone starting out to speaking to agents. It was like 4 paragraphs, massive. I screenshotted it just because I was like, okay, this is a good reference for if we're going to go back into the agent kind of thing. It was like huge. I think it was on the way back from London or something, and it was so much value in that. Especially someone starting out, like it's just those kind of things are great. And even like you said, sharing the wins is good. Just having, I think it'd be just having like other people that are like-minded and having, that support. I remember our first call that we came on and
other people were talking about their properties and we were like,
we were like, well, we were like motivated, and like in the Facebook group, people saying, hey, just got my 4th deal. And it's just like,
we need our first deal.
I remember saying to Eve, and Eve said this back to me as well, like, I want to be that person, like with the 4 deals. I want to be coming into those group calls and talking about and then that last call when we were talking about our 3 properties, it was like, yes.
That's it. But I think, the community is massive. Community was massive for me when I started out as well. Obviously, I went through the mastermind program and things. So I appreciate the community of people that I had around me then. And of course, that's what we try and build ourselves, which is why a lot of the times I do like to jump on the odd sales call to speak to people, to give you a bit of free advice as well and help you on your merry way, because I'm a massive believer, as I always say, what goes around comes around. So if I can help you and you go off and you're success, brilliant. But it's about building and making sure that we get the right people in there as much for me as anything, because what I don't want to do is speak to somebody and just think to myself, do you know what, I don't think you're going to do anything, or I don't think you've got the right mentality or attitude to come in and upset the community. And I would rather, and there will be other people that potentially are on the training at the moment, I don't know who they are, that I've spoken to that wanted to just come and join the community, but doing the training. And I've just said, no, you need to do the training, because you may have already done training, but it ain't as good as this. You will not know everything that we know. And of course, you'll come in and you'll ask questions and everybody will be like, well, that's in the training. You should know that. You should know that. So it's like a whole cycle that we could have took these people's money and just put them in the community, but it was not. You need the training, go through the course, get all the knowledge, and then we're all on the same sort of hunting ground. And then it's the questions that you have live on the job that can make all the difference. So community is massive for me. It's massive for Graham. And we intend to make sure that obviously that community will grow, but making sure that it grows and it thrives as well, that everybody can help each other. And of course, now you guys have got the experience. You can be in there and you can be helping people as well.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. I've noticed that about the group, like what you just said. I've noticed that about it in comparison to maybe other ones that we've seen or been a part of, or that our friends have been a part of. And it is a lot more just focused, you know, it's every single thing in there is really, really useful and productive and focused on what we're trying to achieve. And that's definitely the kind of mindset that we like to be a part of, because it's everyone's really like helping each other, you know. So it's a good group, isn't it, for that?
So 25 units in 12 months, is that the target?
At least.
More. I personally think if you use the 3 different strategy methods that we train and teach as well, I think you'll grow quicker than that.
Yeah, well, I want to. I think we need to sort of network next.
Yeah, the issue with having 3 deals that were very hands-on and not knowing what you're doing is that our pipelines kind of slow down a little bit, but we've got a management call actually, probably like 40 minutes. Probably our 4th or 5th call with the person trying to close that, which is great. And then the next door neighbor, and then we just need to get back on the hustle now. We've kind of caught back up and systemized, so we can kind of get it done. But I think networking, net worth is your network. So like, we need to get onto that. But I think it's going to be like a spiral effect for me. I'm quite confident that we've got this credibility here. Obviously, we can't take our foot off the pedal. We just need to, just look at these opportunities, and it'd be great to get units and like.
Yeah, we'd like to get a block. That's one of our next big goals, is to get a block. And I think we're going to be going to every business networking event that we possibly can now that we're kind of into that next phase of networking, which has got to be the next big focus, is like having that full up pipeline as much as we can. But I think as well, it's funny, like this negotiation we're in at the minute for this management deal. It's a 4-bed house, so it's at least double the size of anything else we've done, but it's the least scary one so far. And that just shows how much that little bit of experience is going to push you forward so much. Like every deal is going to bring you so much more confidence, because it's not at all, it's scary in some ways, but the idea of setting that up and taking that on isn't scary, because it's exactly the same. We're just replicating what we've done, and we've starting to build our kind of process in that sense. So you can see then how you start to roll and scale. And
that's a deal that we couldn't have done if we didn't know about management, because she wants £1,800 for the rent. The mortgage is £1,500. Yeah. Which is like, and then obviously she's paying 7% management if she was going to do it at AST. So it's £160 profit for her. So it's like, well, that's not going to work, is it? So if we were doing rent to rent, we were like, well, we're not going to be able to pay £1,800 plus all the bills. Like, there's no way that we're going to be able to afford that. And then if this management deal is perfect, because, obviously I am conservative, that I want to make sure that she makes money, because I don't want to make her lose money. But I think that it's obviously going to make us, I think we forecast like £1,000 profit a month if we hit numbers that we think we can hit, which is incredible for no risk and no money forward for that. That is no risk, no money forward, which is mental. And then next door neighbors, we have someone at work that's their mortgage is $500, and we talked about their accommodation. He's like, oh yeah, we'll just give it a shot. Why not? I only got a £500 mortgage. What's the worst thing happen? I'm like, yeah, we'll make you $3,000. Great.
And it's just crazy to think, this viewing with that first one that Zac was explaining, we would have gone to that before, and I'm sure it must have happened at some point. We would have gone to it and gone, oh, sorry, we can't help you. Like that would have literally been a lost opportunity. And I think what we've learned from the course is all of those different avenues, management obviously being the biggest focus for us, that obviously Graham loves as well. But just understanding all those different options and building those deals that work for that individual, and you open up so many more opportunities once you understand all of that, because otherwise that's deals we wouldn't have even seen it as an opportunity, which is crazy. Wow.
I mean, if you're looking at taking on blocks, if you're going to just do it as a rent to rent, it's going to be a massive liability to you. Whereas you take them on as management, or don't forget as well, of course, you can do a JV. You know, if you're mate with the house, 500 quid, why not say we'll do a JV? You supply the house, we'll supply the management, and you can pay a management fee and we'll split the profits. So you don't even have to cut yourself a little bit short there at the end of the day. So you can structure it in such a way that it's got to be a win-win, obviously, for everybody. And as I said before, a lot of people getting into this are looking at win-wins, but they're ending up win for maybe the landlords, but they're not winning themselves because they're paying too much for it and things. And it's just that narrow-mindedness. You know, at the end of the day, all deals can sort of work if you're structured right. And it's really about getting in there, finding out what the pain point is. What do they need? Because everybody wants and has needs, different needs. But what do they need? Can we solve it? But you're not just going in there with, you know, can we solve it with a rent to rent? Well, I'll tell you what, we can actually try and solve it. We could just do management. And a lot of people will overlook management because they're thinking letting agents. I don't want to be a letting agent and all this sort of thing. But you've got the systems in place now, or you're building the systems in place, that it's so easy now for you to be able to just move those systems into a bit of management here or there as well. As you grow, it helps you grow bigger, it helps you grow stronger. And that's massive. That's how you scale a business very quickly, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. When you're looking to take on as many good deals as possible, you want to have all those doors open. And that's a massive one that opens up so many more opportunities. And that's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's less, you know, you can set up like different companies for like these things. We didn't think about that. If we would like just do it ourselves, we'd put it on one company and we would be in that again. But having all these like umbrella companies, one management, one rent to rent, this one is going to be, you can have like 20 properties under this one company compared to just having 3 here. So it's really good. And I think for quick scaling, you know, we can just implement all these. And, you know, obviously cash flow is hard with rent to rent, especially when you have the deposit and, you know, if you can't negotiate that and then the rent, you know, it stacks up quite quick.
And then you're looking at when you're going to make your return on investment back, right? So it's not like immediate profit. So you think, oh, you've got all these payments coming in, but none of that is actually technically profit when you take it yet. You know, it will be, but not straight away because we furnish those places or whatever. So to have something where you can go into it and there's not really much of a return on investment that you need to look at. You're just looking at the cash coming in. And that's also quite exciting in terms of that freedom with that, you know, coming in, and you can take on more deals more quickly because you're not worrying about when you can afford to furnish the next one. You're just kind of saying yes and taking it on.
That's it. So anybody that might be, you know, looking to get into serviced accommodation, maybe they're sat on the fence, anybody that's maybe even started but is struggling and maybe comes across this podcast, comes across the Ultimate Serviced Accommodation Business Builder Program, what would you say to them?
I would say just take action, like anything. I think if you really want to do it, you just have to crack on with it and just do it today, not tomorrow. Because it's very easy to get discouraged. And I think, you know, we've been there, we haven't had a deal and it took 8, 9, and some people get in 1 and some people get in 20. It will happen. It's a numbers game. And you just have to push through rejection, and just keep building connections, and eventually you'll get there. But understand that getting the deal is the first part. I just don't know how, and I'm not even just saying this, like I genuinely believe there's no way possible you could have a service accommodation business successful without having like someone tell you how to do it, because it is mental. You could obviously do it and you do it well, but you would be doing it like slowly and running around like rampant. If you want to scale, you know, and actually have the freedom as well, you know, you need to have and learn a lot, because there is a lot that goes into this. Even from revenue management, like every day I'm looking at revenue management. It's crazy. You know, it's just mental. And you're dealing with laundry, like it's just crazy. Like that side of it as well.
Yeah, and I think we've said it probably since like the day I met you. Like I've always wanted to get into property. I've always said that. Like I've always known, but it's
kept putting it off to me.
But it's just doing it. Like, and we kind of got to a point where you just, you know, you realize like unless you just get completely out of your comfort zone, take the massive action, not even a massive risk, but just massive action at that point, which was for us, that first big thing that we did was join the course. And then that's pushed us to take all the other big actions that we needed to take, right? So then we're following the course and we're literally just doing what Graham says and it's working. So that big first step has just snowballed, and you won't reach those goals without taking those big steps, as scary as they might be.
No, I didn't even really want to do this. This was like Eve's idea. Like I just got sucked into this and I'm loving it. Like I got a busy like job and you know, I work evenings as well, and I'm just doing this on the side. Was like doing it on the side, and now still am. But like I'm really involved. So when I'm not working, I'm doing this. And I always used to love my freedom, watch YouTube, just to, you know, play games. And I've just stopped all of that because it's, you know, I see the, you know, light at the end of the tunnel with this. And you have that moment. And if you want to do it, just, you know, just back yourself and do it. There's, you know, the risk is, you know, it's there's a risk, but there's also not a risk if you have the support and you do it. Just like, first of all, just go on YouTube. You can find everything on YouTube, and
to start with,
but just like to actually grow, you know, you don't.
Yeah, you think you learn, and then you go, oh wait, no, we knew nothing.
You have enough to get your first deal on YouTube,
but not to then run your first deal.
Not to run a business, no way.
Yeah, not to run a business. That's the key bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Well, that's what you pay for, actually, is that expertise. You know, any we know as well, any corporate businesses out there, they've got big because they've pulled in outside training sources and stuff. They haven't just tried to reinvent the wheel themselves. Sure, some people might have, but most of them have ongoing training from mentors, from coaches, from different businesses and industries. So, and this is why I say to people, this is why you need to do that for yourself. If you're looking to grow and build a business, then follow somebody who's got the business that you want. And just follow the roadmap to success and be able to ask them those questions. So I am mindful of your time, and I know you've got a call with a landlord and stuff shortly, but I do like to ask a few questions because I'm always interested. So if you don't mind, I'll do a little quick fire round with you. And basically, what's the best advice you've been given?
My best advice is what Graham always says to everyone on the calls: you are a serious player in this space. Like, you're a serious business owner, and him saying that just like puts me in that mindset. And then I go into meetings and I'm just like assuming that role, even if I don't feel deep down like that is true yet. And for me, that's been the biggest thing that's just like shifted my mindset and built the confidence up, really.
Well, I know what mine is as a sales background. The $3,000 that he made me on that coaching call. don't apply price. You know, put all these things on there, and then you know, see how it goes, and then that just made us money. That little nugget was just like everything, and that's flipped the switch in the business overnight.
I know, that's amazing. I mean, it was fantastic when I saw the messages coming through into the community the next day, and you guys were like, "Wow, look at this!" It was just like, "Oh yes, nailed it." That's what it's all about now. Now you're up and running. Now that's it.
Went from we got no money coming in to we got a lot of money coming in. Not one book. I was like, whoa, okay, what the hell's going on?
That's it. And if it continues, you know, it will continue as well. And of course, you know, for your different seasons, now you're in the right place to find out what you need to be doing at each season. And like I say, following the experts.
Keep changing it up. It's not like just sit still.
That's brilliant. Brilliant. So if you could sit down and have a meal with 3 people, dead or alive, who would you like to talk to?
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, first one would be LeBron James. I'm a massive basketball player. Yeah, that'd be my number one. There's someone that I didn't say as Oren Claff. I don't know if it's called Pitch Anything. If anyone hasn't read that, I didn't say it. I was gonna read that. Yeah, Graham maybe.
I think honestly, like Miley Cyrus is my first one. Can't ever not say her name, but no, but honestly, at this point right now, like. You guys.
Well, that dream could come true. We'll sort that.
I mean, not to be you know, too much of a teacher's pet or anything, but genuinely, like at this point in our life, we want to just learn more and more about this. So the experts in the field.
Brilliant. No problem. Sounds good. Do you listen to podcasts? If you do, what's your top 3 podcasts?
I don't actually listen to podcasts that much. I've been more into Audible. I do like Joe Rogan. I do watch Joe Rogan a little bit. I need to get into the CEO podcast. I haven't watched that. But I haven't been in the podcast.
I listen to I can't remember what it's called, but I listen to like, it's one about kind of property news and updates, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's good just for context of what's going on. So when you are speaking to landlords, you kind of get on their level and understand the position they're in. So that's really helpful.
Cool.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And lastly, have you both got top 3 books that you'd recommend?
Yeah. So, I mean, for sales, it'd be Brian Tracy's Psychology of Selling.
Okay.
Orange Staff, Pitch Anything. And then there's 2. Actually, I'm going to give.
You can take mine.
I'm going to take 2. I'm going to take 2 more. No, I probably don't have yours. The Chimp Paradox.
Yeah.
Yeah, such a good book. And then
Brilliant.
7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Nice. Like it.
Word in the title.
Yeah, just blank it.
It's I can't remember.
The Art of Not Giving
The Art of Not Giving a.
Okay.
Yeah, love that book. And the Chimp Paradox is a really great one. And also, I just finished reading The 7 Steps to Manifesting by Roxy Nafouzi, which is an amazing book. And it's all about, like understanding the goals you want, how to set goals, and how to, manifesting, some people think can be a bit like wishy-washy, but actually it's all about, just like the mindset you need to be in to be successful, whether it's to like work on your fitness goals or whatever. It's that's a really good book.
No, I'm massive on the manifesting thing, because if you've got an idea, you've got a concept, if you take action to it, it'll appear in front of you. The opportunities that we all seek are there. They're everywhere. It's just being open to seeing them, seeing which opportunities are right for you, and obviously taking those steps forward with the right opportunities. Hey, listen, it's been a fantastic, I could go on forever here with you guys, because you're brilliant. Brilliant. But I'd like to thank you ever so much for coming on the show. Also, I'd like to invite you back already and have you maybe later in the year. We'll do an update and see how things are going, see how things are progressing, because I can see massive and big things coming from you guys. And of course, I'm in the best seats possible to see that, being in the community and obviously being there watching your progress. Is there any final thoughts you'd like to leave people with before we wrap this one up?
I mean, I think if you're on the fence to join. I mean, I think we got off that call with you and we're going to take action. It was everything that we wanted. And for the price, and obviously, it's going up as well. Like, just do it. There's payment options there. I can contest you make that money back when you have your units in a day from just learning the stuff, and having that there is, it's priceless to be in that community and learn everything and learn the new strategies. So it's fun, it's exciting, it's a lot of work as well. Like, be prepared that it is not passive at the start. You have to put a lot of time into this and kind of drop what you like to do and just put all the time in there, and that's how you're going to be successful. And if you're not in that mindset, I probably wouldn't go into service accommodation, if I'm honest.
It does take some work. Yeah, and I think we probably were a little bit before joining, like, don't get swept up in the kind of, not necessarily false promises, but the dreamy side of it, where it's all just like, profit. It's all about just making money, right? Like, there's more to it than that, which is great. Like, you're actually running a business, which is super exciting. And as soon as we joined, we knew that, and our mindset shifted. Like, right, we're running a business now. And just the way Graham speaks in those videos, like, it's so serious, like, in the friendliest way possible. It's really serious and to the point, and like, that's what we needed. And it's, if you want to do this and do it properly, then this is not going to be like all the false promises. This is going to be genuinely like growing an actual business, which we're super excited about.
Absolutely.
Well, brilliant. Thank you very much. And once again, congratulations on your success so far. It's been so quick. It's about less than a month, or about a month, really, isn't it? Since you took properties on, got them fired up, and now you're making really, really good money. Thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you there. If you are interested in the ultimate serviced accommodation business builder, there will be links in the show notes, or reach out to me on social media. I am a friendly chap, as Zac and Eve can vouch for. I am happy to talk. I am happy to share anything. But remember to keep focusing on your vision, keep knowing what your goals are and pushing yourself forward. And come and join me in the next episode. You take care, and bye for now.